And welcome to another fine edition of the Post-Credit Show. I'm your host, Ronnie Williams.
My name is Brandon Mason. Thank you for joining us. And if this is your first time here, smash that subscribe button on below, and we want to hear from you.
Oh, yes, and there are post-credit scenes for Captain Marvel, but that's to be expected from
Two
Marvel.
of them.
Yes. The mid-credit scene is the important one, and like most of them, the very tail end post-credits is kind of a gag.
I thought the very last one was in reverse order. I felt like the last post-credit scene should have been the mid-credits one.
Right, because chronologically,
yeah.
But
it confused me.
They want to put the important one in the middle just in case people do leave after that one, you know. Like
I think the fans should stay. When the credits rolled in the movie theater where I was, not one person moved. Like everyone was expecting it, and then when it did go to black with the regular credits, I think 2 or 3 people got up. So everyone stayed for those post-credit scenes.
Yep. So I want to start off. How soon should people see Captain Marvel?
Should see it right away. Questions like, who has not seen this movie? It's already made 153 million
domestically,
455 million worldwide. So the question is, who has not seen it? You were telling me it's the second biggest opening for a comic book movie.
Comic book adaptation.
Comic book adaptation.
Which doesn't sound right to me, but who knows what they're looking.
I don't. Who might have judged?
It's done well. It's done well.
It's a fun movie.
Right.
It's a comic book movie. It's a fun movie.
Right.
It's not Black Panther. I would definitely say
right.
that if I have to make comparisons.
So I would definitely say see it this week if you haven't seen it already.
Should they see it in 3D or 2D?
I saw it in 2D and was just fine.
Okay.
I
saw it in 3D. It was really cool.
Okay.
Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, there's some really cool effects with her character.
Now, one thing I tried to find, I could not find it in IMAX 3D. I don't know if you've heard anything about that.
Well, no, what's up?
I can't find it anywhere in IMAX, in 3D in IMAX.
Maybe
I couldn't find it AMC.
What about Dolby
IMAX?
I mean, Dolby 3D.
Yeah, I could not find it specifically IMAX 3D.
Okay.
But I could find it in 3D in other formats.
Interesting. Oh, Gwen Williams already chiming in. She loved the movie.
Gwen, what was your favorite part about the movie?
Yep. So let us know what your favorite part of the movie was. Also, real quick, I caught Velvet Buzzsaw, a horror movie on Netflix.
Okay.
Same director and as Nightcrawler, and he brings back a lot of the actors. Jake Gyllenhaal is one of the leads, and it's a pretty good horror movie.
Nightcrawler is it's a disturbed, dark movie.
Yes,
I will say that. So I imagine it's the same.
Yeah, and. Yeah, it's like a supernatural, horror movie.
Okay.
Hits the right beats, and it's a fun watch. If you got Netflix, I say throw it on your list.
Did it just come out on Netflix?
No, okay. It's been a while.
All right.
But yeah, I'd say put it on your list, and maybe, after you've seen 4 other things on Netflix, get that in there.
Check it out. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Ronnie, I have a question for you.
Okay.
So let's talk about the reviews for this movie. This movie's all across the board with the reviews. So look at Cinema Score. I gave it an A. The critics for Rotten Tomatoes gave it an 80%. But the fans are up and down. On Friday, the fans on Rotten Tomatoes gave this movie a 36%, which sounds terrible. Now it's up to 57%.
Mm-hmm. What
is your take on that? I feel that this movie is better than a 57%.
So this movie, it's kind of funny. Like, first off, it's like a virtually unknown character. It's much like Guardians of the Galaxy, except there's not a fun raccoon to look at, Although they're trying to tote that cat as
The cat, not to get too far off subject, the cat is also on the cover of Entertainment Weekly.
It's packaged in every toy.
Yes, and
every toy.
And the thing with the Entertainment Weekly, it said this is the cat that everyone will be talking about after the movie.
Yes.
And I will say, for those who have not seen the movie, you will be talking about this cat after you see the movie.
Yes. But anyways, unknown character. It used to be male at one point in the comics. Ms. Marvel kind of is related. Rogue steals her powers at one point in the comics.
In X-Men, yes. I have that issue, actually.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it's a mess. The comic book history. In fact, there was DC character called Captain Marvel, which got renamed Shazam.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's coming out. Shazam movie is coming out next week, 2 weeks.
And while we're talking Shazam, it's funny, they lifted their embargo right before Captain Marvel came out. I'm wondering if they were trying to muddy the waters a little bit, make moviegoers lose focus.
Do you think DC's trying to muddy the waters?
Or something like that.
Or
like
just the fans.
Like get people talking about it at least before Captain Marvel came out and dominated, the ways.
It's going to be interesting either way, just to see what happens.
Yes.
But if you had to give this a letter grade, what letter grade would you give this movie?
Normally I don't. This show doesn't do that.
I know you don't like to do that. I'm going to put you on the spot.
I mean, Marvel movies are solid, and this is definitely a solid one. Kept me guessing, twisting and turning. I say B.
Yeah, I'd say solid B as well.
Solid B, yeah.
Solid B with this.
Gwen Williams said the big moment towards the end where they show flashbacks of her falling down and getting back up again. Yes, I am human. Yes, that was a great moment.
Okay.
Like all the different times she's fallen and the bad guys are talking to her and
they're calling her weak.
Right.
She's not strong enough. She never will be strong enough.
Right, using her own memories against her, but then she's like, oh, I've triumphed many times as well. And I'm like, okay, that's a cool message. And that's what sold the movie to me in the trailers. That's what the exact thing they showed in the trailers.
For me, there's when this movie was coming out, it's Marvel's first female-led action hero. So I felt like this was a response to DC. And with the DC movies, I feel like they're always responding to what Marvel does. And I feel like this is the first time that Marvel's actually responded to DC.
Yes.
And I have to ask the question, is this a better movie than Wonder Woman? And people are going to make comparisons, so let's make the comparison now. Yeah,
let's break it down, and if you're joining us, please chime in. Which one do you think is stronger, Wonder Woman or Captain Marvel? As far as best sequences go, I think Wonder Woman crossing no man's land is just the best scene.
That's an awesome scene.
Yeah. I mean, Patty Jenkins actually had a fight for that scene. Some producers didn't want it in the movie, but Patty Jenkins is like, no, this is the movie. Please.
I mean, both movies are kind of period pieces. It's hard to believe that 1995 is now a period piece at this point. But one takes place in the 90s, one takes place in World War I.
Right. But which one ranks higher in their period? I think World War I's fascinating. I lived through the 90s. Which, so the music was better, The
music was better than the 90s. And speaking about the music, I couldn't help but notice this movie, Captain Marvel, does have a theme. It's girl power, is what I felt was definitely one of the themes.
Where was the Spice Girls?
The Spice Girls didn't come out to 96 or 97.
Oh.
I was actually watching the movie, and I said to myself, when are they going to play the Spice Girls? Which
they're saving it for the sequel.
They're saving it for the sequel, but some of the bands featured in the movie, Elastica, Garbage, TLC, No Doubt, all female-led bands.
Yeah, I noticed that while watching.
And so we've got another comment coming in here. Sergio threw out No Doubt. And
they played No Doubt.
They played No Doubt, which I have a problem with that scene, but I just want to see Gwen's comment here first before we get into that.
Gwen said, the only problem I have with the movie is at the beginning I had trouble understanding what was going on, and then eventually I got it.
So I thought it was interesting because at first I had a little trouble too, but it worked for me because it kind of drew me in as an audience member because I was confused just like I figure many other audience members were.
Right, it seemed like, hey, if you use your powers on me again, you're gonna have to go to super intelligence, like it was like a threat.
But then she does, and it's not a big deal.
Right, it's like she had to go see the super intelligence anyways, and that's a clunky villain name.
Which played by Annette Bening, with that.
Yeah.
But they said the central intelligence, artificial.
Super intelligence.
Super intelligence is basically AI. Is what it looked like to me. But get back to the No Doubt scene. I had a problem with that because this is a scene where she's under attack. She might get killed.
Right.
And then the editor plays "I'm Just a Girl" by No Doubt.
Yeah.
It's a poppy song. It's a catchy song. It's an upbeat song. And this is I felt it's a song that does not match the emotional tone of the scene.
Well, some of the lyrics, though, "Why won't the world let me be?" You know, I think that, you know, Sergio agrees it doesn't fit.
Thank you, Sergio.
Thank you, Sergio. But
what were your thoughts on that? I mean, did it fit? Did it not fit? I mean, it's a cool song. I like the song, but I felt it did not fit the scene.
Boom, boom. I mean,
it's a cool song.
You can set a fight scene to anything. I think it works.
Is it a good song for a fight scene? Maybe, but when the fact that someone's life is on the line, that's where I felt like it didn't match.
I never felt she was endangered. Is the
exactly.
thing.
I think that's the problem.
Once she becomes Marvel Unchained,
which was an interesting scene as well.
Right.
Was that too over the top? Was that too melodramatic when she's Carol Danvers at this point, Captain Marvel?
Well, I mean, as Gwen pointed out, like her rising in the memory, like it's like a mental block as well as a technological block. You know,
I felt this was her character arc was coming out when she
right.
looked and she said, you know, my name is Carol Danvers, and I'm sitting there and I said to myself, I feel like I've seen this before somewhere, and I remember. The Matrix, where
my name is Neo.
Yeah, my name is Neo, and I said that's where I've seen this scene before. I feel like you're stealing from the Matrix here, but I felt like it was a little too over dramatic. Were my thoughts on that particular scene.
Yes.
And then I was thinking like if we fall asleep at night, we wake up the next day, we don't know our names, we don't know what we're doing. Our personalities will still be the same. And I felt for Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, that she was still the same person.
Yes.
Yeah, so it wasn't like a true character arc for me.
I mean, yeah, that's interesting. Like, it's kind of like Aquaman. Like, Aquaman does not have a character arc in Aquaman.
Well, he's a little selfish at first.
He's a little selfish,
I don't think he doesn't really want to be the king.
I think
he kind of takes over.
Her learning her history, you know, and like her not killing, like, okay, we're in major spoilers territory before, but yeah, her not wanting to kill the Skrulls, I think's an interesting arc because she's trained her whole life that they're for 6 years that they're the bad guys, you know.
Exactly, that's a hard pill to swallow, and. Gwen is chiming in about the music. She said she liked the music, reminded her of Guardians of the Galaxy. We're Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
I think the music is a central part of Guardians of the Galaxy. 70s and 80s style music.
Yes.
This one it takes place in the 90s. How did she survive that crash into Blockbuster out of space? I don't know.
Well, I mean, part of the way she was in an escape pod and then she was holding on to it. I mean, she's super tough. Like, even if she's not able to use her photon blast, like her body is still super strong, I feel. But talk about a blockbuster.
Yes, I thought that was it took me a minute, but I got that one.
Right, and like everybody over a certain age was laughing. Like the security guards, like she's like, "Where's the where can I get communication device?" And he points to Radio Shack.
Yes, yeah. I was noticed right off the bat. It's things that don't exist anymore. Blockbuster, Radio Shack, and at that point, I'm thinking to myself, all right, the tone's been set. What else doesn't fit in? So we lost to the '90s.
Sergio says, "I like the Drax characters. Please elaborate."
I'm thinking that's Ronan, maybe with a hammer. Is it a long hammer? Or the Drax is a green guy.
Well, Drax is kind of blue and red.
Yeah.
Like
Batista.
Yeah, Dave Batista. Please elaborate, Sergio.
Yes.
The twist, like who is really the bad guys. I liked all those twists and turns because I kept trying to guess the movie and I couldn't.
I thought it definitely works because the Skrulls are always the bad guys. They're manipulators, and then they come out like, "Here's the real story."
Right.
And I said to myself, "Oh, they're just trying to manipulate her again," and I'm just trying to watching and waiting for the aha, we gotcha. Doesn't happen.
Right. And Ben Mendelsohn plays like
incredible performance.
Yeah. Ben Mendelsohn always delivers.
He stole the show.
Yeah. He's great in Rogue One. There's a Netflix series called Bloodline. If you want to see good acting, watch Bloodline because Ben Mendelsohn just knocks it out of the park. He plays the black sheep of the family who suddenly comes back to town.
Okay. Yeah, he's incredible performance in this. Ronnie, I've got to ask you another question real quick, and a question for our audience.
Okay.
How good was it seeing Stan Lee in, was it the subway train, the subway cart? How good was it just to see Stan Lee in action again?
Yeah, even in the credits, like it was like the Marvel credits, and it superimposed all of his cameos in there. Like it's touching.
It was a great, like you said, touching took the word out of my mouth.
Right.
It's a great touching tribute, and bravo to everyone over at Marvel for putting all those cameos in. And then I think he said, "Thank you, Stan."
Yeah.
Like that.
So yeah, very touching tribute to Stan Lee. Yeah, it moved me. Before the show started, I read Kevin Smith took his kid to see it, and both of them cried at the same moment.
And Gwen says that she wanted to cry as well.
Yeah.
Very, very sad. But if you think about everything that he's accomplished in his lifetime,
Right.
incredible.
Like it's funny. Like as a teen, I think he just showed up to the Marvel offices, and like the guy who was penning, Captain Marvel let him sit in, and
I'm not familiar with Stan Lee's rise.
yeah,
through the comic
it's
world.
like back in those days, you could just walk into a place and they'd be like, "Oh, you want to work here? Okay, go."
You're hired.
Yeah.
I wish it was that easy today.
Oh, Sergio said it reminded him of Paul Walker.
With the Fast and Furious franchise.
Yeah.
So they have a new movie coming out here soon as well.
Oh, the Hobbs and Shaw movie.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
we're covering that one.
I'll be missing that one, folks. I think I have not seen a single movie in the Fast and Furious franchise.
Oh,
Blasphemy! I know.
I need to catch up. I think I saw part of 7
Okay.
because the Paul Walker thing actually did throw me off the series. So yeah.
All right. So getting back to Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
Why does this movie work? What were some of your favorite parts about this movie?
I like the beginning, like seeing this like elite force because you don't know what they're about, and like they seem neat because like they can torpedo under the water. They have like breathing.
Oh yeah. Well, they're face shields.
Right.
Yeah.
And like they're taking out.
They gave her a mohawk though.
Just,
I thought that was a little weird.
I thought that. See.
Not everyone has a mohawk. She has a very pronounced mohawk.
Hashtag flaming mohawk. I mean, that's the reason. So they'd have something, to highlight other than glowing eyes, because glowing eyes is common. Nobody has flaming mohawk.
Yes. Her character stands out with that mohawk too, as well. So
Yeah.
you know exactly which one that is in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, that's the thing too. When they're all wearing those hoods, it's hard to differentiate, between them. Like, that's the thing with like superhero movies, though, is like they have to take off the hood or mask most of the time. Judge Dredd, Stallone, like Judge Dredd never takes off his helmet, but when Stallone was playing him, he's like, I'm not wearing this the whole movie. But Carl Urban's like, I'll do it only if I get to wear the helmet the entire time, because he's the man.
Yeah. So we got another comment coming in. What's Gwen say over there?
Oh, the cat was funny too. Love that cat.
The cat was awesome. For those who have, they've got a cat in the movie. For those who've not seen it, and everyone seems to be petrified of this cat for some apparent reason.
Yeah, all the aliens take one look at it.
The aliens are like, get it away from me, get it from me. Samuel L. Jackson's character is a much kinder, softer, gentler human being this time around.
Oh yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson really takes to the cat as Nick Fury, and he's like, oh, who's a good kitty? Who's a good kitty? He's petting the cat and holding it and hugging it. And everyone's petrified of this cat while he's sitting there just petting it. It's a hilarious scene. It's very well done.
Right. The alien race is called Flurkin, I believe. Flurkin.
And they're like, it's a Flurkin. Keep it away. And
like, I love it. It's like a throwaway line. Sam Jackson goes, "Someone get the Flurkin cat." I think it's good.
I missed that one. Then.
Yeah. I think it's gonna become a new swear word.
Oh boy. Can we say that on the show?
Yes. It's post credits approved.
Okay. All right.
Get the flirk out of here.
All right, folks. Well,
You flirking idiot. But yeah, what about Sam Jackson?
He was awesome. I read an interview with Sam Jackson. When he first got the script, he said to himself, "Why would I do this? This is not me. This is not my character."
Yeah.
And then I think the director had to say, "This is you back in the '90s. This is before you've been hardened by life and everything that you've seen and done." And that's when Sam Jackson said, "Oh, okay, it's a different perspective,
Right.
here." And I thought it worked.
Yeah, though like teaming him up with like serious, Captain Marvel, I thought was great. He's the goofball, she's the straight man. If this is a comedic duo, but it played more like a buddy cop.
Yes, about to say.
Yeah, not buddy cop.
Yeah, not as comedic.
Right, but I love the part when they're locked up and he does some spy stuff. He gets a piece of tape. And gets someone's fingerprint off of the wallet, and then is able to scan their way out.
Yeah,
and then
break out.
Later on, she just shoots the door.
And he's like, he goes, "You could do that the entire time?" And she goes, "Yes." He goes, "Why'd you say something?" She goes, "I just wanted to watch to see what you're up to."
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. Definitely a funny scene. Let's see. I'm just gonna look. I've got a list of questions here for Ronnie. Ronnie.
Oh no.
I have a little bit of a bone to pick with you, sir.
Oh.
So for those who are following social media, Ronnie, when did you watch the movie? Thursday, Friday? Let's start with that.
Thursday.
So Ronnie watched the movie Thursday. I don't know, it was Thursday night, Friday morning. You posted something on Facebook or Instagram. It said...
All over.
It said, post-credits. I'm quoting here. "So we all know that Captain Marvel gets her powers from the Tesseract." And I'm thinking, Ronnie, I have not seen this movie yet.
Okay, apparently you skimmed because I said we're going to talk about, like, it should have been cut off too, like when you first see it. But like it says, we're going to talk spoilers and Endgame predictions. So like this and come back after you've done your homework.
So time out. When you said talk spoilers, I figured spoilers on the show, not spoilers in the actual post.
That.
And maybe
I'm
the only one.
No.
I read that. I was like, I immediately stopped reading the rest because there was more there. I immediately stopped reading it because I had not seen the movie at that point. Yeah.
Oh, laugh it up, Sergio.
Sergio's laughing here. Sergio, we'll be back next week. Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna. We might get crunk for St. Patrick's Day.
All right. To St. Patrick's Day.
You ever hear of a power hour? I'm considering it.
Okay.
If I get the okay from the EMTs, we'll have on standby.
Right. And as always, we do not know what's in this coffee mug, but I promise you, it's not coffee.
Mine's empty. Where were we? Oh yeah, the Tesseract. Yeah,
yes, the Tesseract.
Well, if you watch the movie, it's a very minor spoiler. Like, I had a little joy when I saw, oh, there's the Tesseract. Interesting, So she got a power from essentially an Infinity Stone.
Okay, I was about to say, for our viewers who are not familiar, the Tesseract is one of the Infinity Stones.
Right, it's the casing for the Space Stone. And right at the beginning of Avengers, Infinity War, he breaks the Tesseract just to get the stone out.
And the Tesseract is, I think, the second stone that he gets his hands on, or is it the third
Yeah,
one?
only the second one.
Yes.
Yeah, second one, because Thor has it, well, Loki has it in his possession. But yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. After all these movies, like it took Thanos this long just to get the purple gem.
Which one's the purple gem?
That's the power gem. Guardians of the Galaxy had it.
Okay.
And they all joined hands and
all right.
used it to beat Ronan.
Because there's been so many movies at this point. For me, it's getting a little difficult to tie some of them together.
Yes. So Gwen's asking, do you think it helps to see some of the other Marvel movies to understand this movie? So definitely for Nick Fury, like you have to see a couple Nick Fury stuff. I think you have to see at least the first Avengers.
It's a good question. Walking into this movie blind, like the Kree, the Skrulls, I think the audience... This is actually the first exposure, really, to the Krees and the Skrulls. A little bit in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
But I feel like this is the first real exposure to them. So it's a good question, Gwen. I think maybe not. Maybe you don't have to see the other Marvel movies to pick up with this one, because it does take place 20 plus years ago.
Right. Well, it's a tough, like...
It's a good question.
It's set before... even Iron Man.
Yes.
So that's helpful. But the Tesseract, like, why is everybody else freaking out in the theater when they get a blue square? You know, like you don't understand how dangerous that is.
The significance of the Tesseract.
Right. You just know it's a MacGuffin.
But I will say the Tesseract is featured in Captain America.
Right.
And the first movie, if you want to watch them in order, would be the Captain America movie.
Yes.
It takes place in the 40s. And then I think this would be the second movie to watch if you're
doing
going
chronological.
at the timeline.
Yeah. Do flashbacks.
Yep. So if you're gonna watch these movies, folks, if you've never seen any of them,
right?
watch the first Captain America and then this one.
I'd say Avengers though gives you how important the Tesseract is and how important Nick Fury is. Like, oh, he loses an eye because like every time there's a fake out where you think that's where he loses his eye.
What did you think about how he lost his eye? I was talking to a friend of mine named Gary about this earlier.
It's
today.
hilarious.
And he said, really? That's how he loses his eye? That's it? It's nothing explosive? I wanted more. I wanted more for him to lose his eye. I
think it's fitting. He's messing around with the cat the entire time. And, he's trying to get the Tesseract out of it. And the Flurkin freaks out and scratches him.
I thought he was just like kind of playing with the cat, petting the cat, and then it just decided to scratch him. So I felt like it was not appropriate for a man of his stature.
Well, Thor already did the epic lose an eye thing, so
yeah, that was worthy.
Yeah, you're not worthy. Oh, and those of you watching, we are at the tail end of the show going to give our Avengers Endgame predictions. I have this very nuanced prediction, and I think 80% of it is going to come true.
And before we get into that, real quick, the Avengers Endgame comes out in...
End of April.
End of April. And then we've got Spider-Man coming out, and I think in May?
July.
So it's going to be very busy for the Marvel Studios for 2019.
Yeah.
On the slates. All right, Ronnie, take it away. Let's hear this theory here.
Okay, so not really spoilers. So they all went up against Thanos in Infinity War more or less individually and still couldn't beat him, even when he didn't have every single stone. Even when he had all the stones, Thor's axe was able to cut through it and injure him slightly, but not take him out. So my theory
came that close.
He should have gone for his head or his arm. Even chopping off the arm would have done just as good. But yeah, I don't think they will be able to beat Thanos. Like they'll all they'll come up with a plan. It will fail miserably, and then it will take Tony Stark and Captain America just talking to him. Tony will appeal to his logic, Cap will appeal to his heart, and he'll give up the glove. Because he's still torn up about killing Gamora.
I think the characters will do an all-out assault, and for Tony Stark and Captain America, I know these actors want out of their contracts.
Right.
I'm predicting that they might actually... he might do something to the timeline so that Marvel can reboot these franchises. That's my theory.
I don't think... See, Marvel doesn't go back. It's only forward. Like, yeah, Captain Marvel was set in the past, but I don't think there's going to be a time jump. Like, everybody thinks... they mentioned in the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp that he could get sucked into a time vortex. But they show in a post-credit, a trailer that Ant-Man just shows up.
Well, here's another question. Captain Marvel gets her powers from the Tesseract, which you posted on Facebook. Does that make her almost like one with one of the Infinity Stones? Does that make her strong enough to take on Thanos as a result?
No.
Okay.
Because just like Scarlet Witch could, essentially destroy the Mind Stone, they're like evenly matched, So I think Captain Marvel, the Space Stone, will be evenly matched. And then when you saw her, at the end taking on all the ships, it's much like Thor moving through a crowd, powerful can take on minions, can't take on Thanos. So I say they won't be able to beat him in a straight on confrontation. Okay, that's my least.
Then they're doomed.
So this is my least likely part of my theory. This is the bigger part. Okay, so I say he takes off the gauntlet And right away, Nebula stabs him in the back and kills him.
Why would he take off the gauntlet?
Because they convince him that what he's been doing is wrong. Like, he's so torn up. Like, because he's like a logic guy. Mm-hmm. You know, like, he's a madman.
His logic is flawed.
Right.
I don't see it, Ronnie.
That's what I think. They're going to team up and convince him. Okay. So he takes off the gauntlet. Nebula stabs in the back, kills him, takes the gauntlet for herself. So even if they don't convince her to take it off, somehow Nebula is going to get the gauntlet, okay? And blast everybody away. They can't get to her. And she's going to use it just to bring back Gamora.
Okay.
Because if they use it just to get back people who died in the snap, Gamora won't be part of it.
But we do know Spider-Man comes back in one way, shape, or form. Because there's a movie coming out.
Right. Like, so basically everybody in the snap can come back, but anybody who died before the snap wouldn't be included. Like, if you're a fan of Dragon Ball, it gets very technical, you know, with wish making, whatever. So she's just going to bring back Gamora. She'll die in the process because she can't handle the power, and the gauntlet will shatter, and all the stones will, you know, just be loose.
Have you read the comic where all this happens or not?
Bits and pieces. I know Nebula does get the Infinity Gauntlet in Infinity Wars.
Spoiler.
Whatever.
Spoiler here. I've looked at a little bit of the comic, but not all of it, so I cannot remember what happened. But in the comics, he did kill everyone, much like the snap was. And Sergio's afraid that Thanos is going to start crying again. So. Which maybe he will cry. Maybe he will take off the glove at that point.
So Gamora comes back, and so the Infinity Stones are separated. Like, how are they going to do it? And so, much like the end of Guardians of the Galaxy, each one's going to grab a stone and sacrifice themselves to reverse half the universe.
I think Captain Marvel will save the day. In some way, shape, or form. And that's it. It's not very complicated, folks, but that's my theory.
No, I think each one's going to grab the stones and, like, you know, they'll say something touching like, I'm with you to the end of the line, Captain America might say, or I could do this all day, something like that. And that's how Iron Man, War Machine, maybe Scarlet Witch, maybe Hawkeye.
They're all gonna die.
Right.
Okay.
But now that Thor's popular, maybe he survives it. You know, Hulk, maybe he survives it because they have a plan to team him up with someone else later down the line. Captain Marvel obviously survives. Rocket Raccoon, even though he picks up a stone, he survives.
I don't think Marvel will kill off their franchise.
Right, but Rocket Raccoon's the only Guardian of the Galaxy who survived the snap, other than Nebula.
Isn't the tree? What's his name?
No, Groot died.
Groot died?
Yeah, and they said his last "I am Groot" meant "I'm sorry,
that's
Father."
Right, that's right. I remember that now.
So yeah, he's gonna try to do it too, and he knows he's not gonna make it, but for some reason he does, and so I think his arc in the next Guardian of the Galaxy movie is gonna be survivor's guilt. Like, why did he survive when all these other supposedly tougher heroes, you know, died?
I have no clue. No clue. We do have a few comments coming in. Just, Gwen says Captain Marvel comes back and help, and something about going back in, and then they try to do it over again and change
back in time.
So then another time loop theory. And still half of them die.
Right. I like my theory where they do the Guardians of the Galaxy thing and they each grab a stone, and you know, some of them die, some of them don't.
We'll find out in a month and a half, 2 more months.
Yeah, it's coming up, and there's Shazam.
Shazam
in between.
is coming. Yes.
Yep.
We're closing it out.
And any last comments from our viewers? Yeah, please spread this around the interwebs.
Yep, Captain Marvel, I would say, is a B movie. It's a B plus movie. Not like a B movie. But, I give it a score of a B movie. But if you're watching us and it's not live, feel free to leave a comment for us, and we will focus your
right.
We will feature you on our next episode.
Yes, let us know your Endgame theories. We'll keep saying them each episode.
Yep, let us know how we're doing as well. We'd love to hear some feedback.
Because this show's for you guys, and we're always happy. Oh, I was I almost forgot. Someone agreed with my theory I posted online. C. Denise J said, I agree. I know she's supposed to be the strongest, but she got the same Infinity Stone powers as Wanda. Seeing her take out the crowd like Thor's powers, so...
Well, did Wanda get the powers from the Tesseract, though?
No, but from an Infinity Stone. So I think it's like a similar thing.
Well, each stone has its own like set of powers. Because Doctor Strange
right,
had one
but
as well.
when you get power from something, you can't really overcome it. I don't think. I don't know. Comic books.
We're going to find out soon enough.
Yeah. Yep, we're funny. Thanks, Gwen.
Yep, Gwen says we're funny. Thank you, Gwen.
Thank you for joining us.
It's been fun.
See you after the movie.
Yeah, and we'll see you after the movie.
Yeah.